Alright, guys, I'm back with another chapter in Genesis. I think I covered the fact that not a big fan of chapter 38. That was not fun for me. That was a pretty discouraging chapter. Um, just some tough reflections on some things. Knowing that God is going to bless us through the mistakes, knowing that we're not perfect. So when you look at it from a bird's eye view, it's fantastic to see the redemption of these people and the character. Um, but just my thought process going through 38, I really struggled with that. Was not a fan. Had a conversation for quite some time after with my wife, and I did not like chapter 38 of Genesis that much. So 39, we're gonna get back to Joseph. That whole story is a lot more uplifting for me, so I'm excited to get back to it. And this header reads, Joseph is thrown into prison, and we'll get right into it. When Joseph was taken to Egypt by the Ishmaelite traders, he was purchased by Potiphar, an Egyptian officer. Potiphar was captain of the guard for Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. The Lord was with Joseph, so he succeeded in everything he did, as he served in the home of his Egyptian master. Potiphar noticed this and realized that the Lord was with Joseph, giving him success in everything he did. This pleased Potiphar, so he soon made Joseph his personal attendant. He put him in charge of his entire household and everything he owned. From the day Joseph was put in charge of his master's household and property, the Lord began to bless Potiphar's household for Joseph's sake. All his household affairs ran smoothly, and his crops and livestock flourished. So Potiphar gave Joseph complete administrative responsibility over everything he owned. With Joseph there, he didn't worry about a thing except what kind of food to eat. Joseph was a very handsome and well-built young man, and Potiphar's wife soon began to look at him lustfully. "Come and sleep with me," she demanded. But Joseph refused. "Look," he told her, "my master trusts me with everything in his entire household. No one here has more authority than I do. He has held back nothing from me, except you, because you are his wife. How could I do such a wicked thing? It would be a great sin against God." She kept putting pressure on Joseph day after day, but he refused to sleep with her, and he kept out of her way as much as possible. One day, however, no one else was around when he went to do his work. She came and grabbed him by his cloak, demanding, "Come on, sleep with me." Joseph tore himself away, but he left his cloak in her hand as he ran from the house. When she saw that she was holding his cloak and he had fled, she called out to her servants. Soon all the men came running. "Look," she said, "my husband has brought this Hebrew slave here to make fools of us. He came into my room to rape me, but I screamed. When he heard me scream, he ran outside and got away, but he left his cloak behind with me." She kept the cloak with her until her husband came home. Then she told him her story. "That Hebrew slave you brought into our house tried to come in and fool around with me," she said. "But when I screamed, he ran outside, leaving his cloak with me." Joseph put in prison. Potiphar was furious when he heard his wife's story about how Joseph had treated her. So he took Joseph and threw him into prison, where the king's prisoners were held. And there he remained. But the Lord was with Joseph in the prison and showed him his faithful love. And the Lord made Joseph a favorite with the prison warden. Before long, the warden put Joseph in charge of all the other prisoners and over everything that happened in the prison. The warden had no more worries because Joseph took care of everything. The Lord was with him and caused everything he did to succeed. I really like 39. Now again, I already told you guys, if you're following along, that I'm a big fan of Joseph. He's simply, now it starts off that he seems kind of like a spoiled brat. It says how much his father loves him, his brothers hate him because he's the favorite, but that doesn't keep him from serving. You know, whenever the father asks him to do something, he does it, and he does it in the best way possible. When he gets sold into slavery and he gets put into a different position, he serves, and he serves the best way possible. When he gets put into prison, and another thing, all he does is simply have a good attitude. And now his father did train him, so there's some unique background there. His father did give him the tools to succeed in the managing of things, which is actually quite fantastic, and it ends up serving him well. but still he applies those skills with the heart of a servant. It didn't matter where he was or whatever circumstances he had, he simply served. And so I love that. And the fact that God continued to bless even those that were over him, continue to bless them simply because Joseph was serving them. I love that. That is what I want to emulate. I couldn't say that I've been given any specific dreams of a future where I see people bowing before me or family. Not anything quite, we'll say fantastical, but not that I would pursue a future that I would want people to bow to me. But the desire to serve, I have such a strong desire to serve. It's led me to education, and it's continuing to just strengthen my desire to serve and love people. That's one thing I know is growing within me. But I don't have any one specific quest or have been given any specific insight as to what that might look like. But like Joseph, I just want to keep serving wherever I'm at. I'll be the first to let you know that there have been a couple places that felt like prison along the way, a couple places that, man, this is a lot tougher than I thought it'd be, but I love it. I love that I serve a God that it doesn't matter where I'm at, I can still serve and glorify him, and I'm going to be taken care of. That gives me peace for me. That gives me peace for my family. That gives me peace for anyone that comes across my path that I'm given the ability to serve. And so I'm just enjoying that. I'm just enjoying loving people and serving, and God's going to continue to open doors and open the floodgates and continue to bless me and my family and everyone that I'm associated with. And I like that. It's also promised to me simply by me abiding by that, which is why it's important that you're going through and reading this whole book. You're promised certain things when you execute for God. And all I can say is that He's a faithful God, and He doesn't change, and He's following through for me simply because I'm doing what I told. But it doesn't depend on me. I simply have to have faith. And because I have that faith, I have a desire to act on that. But He's also one that blesses me with that faith. So it's all Him. I just enjoy it along the way. On that note, have a good night. God bless. I love you. Jesus loves you. And tomorrow I'll read chapter 40 in Genesis, where the header reads, Joseph interprets two dreams. I look forward to seeing that. And again, I always love the continued story of Joseph. Have a good night and God bless, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.